Hello everyone, welcome to the Digital Office vlog. My name is Martyn Wallace. I am the Chief Digital Officer here at the Digital Office for Scottish Local Government. The next short video, this is probably take 246, and this time hopefully without leaving the mute on, is just to give you an update of what the Digital Office and partners have been involved in supporting local authorities during COVID-19. So Digital Office 2 was launched in October 2019 as we got a 2-year extension to our programme. We had a new business plan and then February happened. So we got quite busy very quickly in a space of a couple of days to understand what in our product set was available as helping councils through the current situation, and also understanding and reaching out to councils to look at what they needed going forward during the pandemic and how we could support it. So we split up the portfolio into 3 key areas, the 3 R's as we like to call them: response, recovery and renewal. And this video was going to take you through some of the products and services under those 3 headings that we've been producing in the last 3 months. So in regards to response, very quickly, within about a day, we created a business continuity plan. I locked down the team there and then we looked at reaching out to the councils to understand what we could do to support. First thing was looking at suppliers and trial licenses to help supporting working from home. So we worked with a few suppliers to create a catalogue in conjunction with Scotland Excel, which we actually negotiated 90 days free trial licenses for things to actually be able to help support working from home during a crisis. This isn't working from home normally, this is working from home during a crisis, so things are completely different to normal mobile and flexible working. In addition to that, the digital telecare team worked with Technology Enabled Care and Scottish Government to produce business continuity advice in a very short period of time, like it was 5 days, to produce advice on the digital telecare playbook to help support the alarm receiving centres and frontline services that rely on telecare in Scotland. So very rapidly done in an agile manner to stand up and then give advice as and when appropriate. Next thing, the challenge list and response was looking at how do we support the shielded and vulnerable in our communities. So working with several chief execs, we created a functional spec in about 24 hours, worked over a weekend with Microsoft Scotland to understand what we could actually take off quite quickly or what we could reuse. And then on the Monday, Tuesday, the following week, worked with Scotland Excel and 3-4 partners to understand a quick and simple solution in the cloud that could become a common platform going forward. We awarded the contract to Agilysys. We negotiated some free trial licenses through Microsoft for Microsoft Dynamics 365, and then 8 councils got together to create the common platform, and luckily, or happily I should say, we released version 2 a few weeks back based on the needs and requirements of the councils. So we do it once and replicate it 8 times. Hopefully later on we might replicate it more with other councils going forward as well. Very noticeable, very quickly, was the amount of information reporting to understand what was happening in communities. We understand from COSLA, from policy, from Scottish Government, from governing bodies, from other councils, from partners, about just the vast amount of reporting coming into councils at an incredible speed. So what we did just before lockdown, I was speaking to health and care colleagues about sharing data. We stood that up even bigger and we created a cross-sector data task force involving Public Health Scotland, Scottish Government, NHS, Third Sector, Police Scotland, Scottish Enterprise and the ICO to look at how do we use data effectively to help with economic regeneration once COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted, but also how do we support our communities to be safe and healthy during the pandemic. This is now be taken over by Scottish Government to be led by them, but this group has been looking at how do we use data effectively, publish once and replicate many in a secure manner to help with business decisions on a day-to-day basis. So it's been some great, fantastic work from our partners, and thank you all that's been involved in that so far. Big thing, like I said, was working from home. So we accelerated the work that we had already in play for products and services on the Office 365 collaboration and modern workplace work stream that we were dealing with. So we've been working with councils on federation. We've been working with NHS NSS, who rolled out Microsoft Teams very quickly over a couple of weekends at the start of the pandemic, and how do we federate with their environment, and also been speaking to Police Scotland and Scottish Government and others about how do we federate with their environments as well. This means we can sweat the assets and the investment that we are making in Scotland in Office 365, but also using that for cross-sector functional teams in a collaborative style in a secure manner to transfer and share data accordingly. So a lot of work ongoing with that just now, and a great big thank you to councils being involved in this, especially Perth and Kinross Council for sharing some of the best practice they have done, including communities and councillor meetings, which I'll cover in a couple of moments' time as well. Other big thing, based on feedback from chief execs, data and IT staff, we were conscious that there was a lot of salespeople, a lot of companies offering help, support, trial licenses, special deals, etc. Now, as much as that is a benefit, it can also be a hindrance. We have to concentrate on making sure our communities are safe, so that's priority. So what we did was worked with Scotland Excel and Scottish Government, who were doing something similar with us, to look at how do we capture these offers in a more kind of cohesive manner. So we set up a web page on the Digital Office website and then directed any sales engagement that was coming through via Twitter, via LinkedIn, email, phone calls to this page to capture it. And Scotland Excel could then do due diligence to see what was available and then pass out the information on a catalogue to all involved, which saves time, money, and also just terms of engagement going forward as well. So if you are a salesperson reading this or watching this just now, if you want to get involved with us, please go to digitaloffice.scot, contact us, and in there's a special email just form. Just fill your details in there, and if it's of interest to us, we will get back in contact with you through Scotland Excel in due course. So moving into recovery, we looked at our first virtual partnership forum in May. Normally we have about 80 to 100 people together in Glasgow or Edinburgh. Can't do that, lockdown's in. So we used Microsoft Teams to great effect on this. We even had workshops on the side, then coming back to the main room. Massive experiment, but worked very, very well. And I was so delighted to see colleagues that I hadn't seen for a while, because they're sometimes not able to travel due to location. So it was great to see Orkney, Shetland, the Western Isles, the Borders, and Dumfries and Galloway involved in our event that day as well. So we will be looking at that going forward, because A, it saves cost, but also B, it just means that everybody can be included in one of our events going forward. At that event of the Partnership Forum, Perth and Kinross Council, like I mentioned earlier on, did a great show and tell of what they've been doing with Microsoft Teams for committee meetings. Now, there's a mass interest in this. Perth and Kinross have been deluged with different requests for help for this. So we've taken the learnings from it, case studies, how-to guides, documentation, made it available on the Digital Office team site. But it just shows you how partnership working and looking for kind of best of breed solutions that are already been done and innovation happening across councils can be shared to the many, so we can just really accelerate and collaborate together on doing digital transformation. As part of Cross-Site Data Task Force, there was also a new kind of governance piece put together by Digital Health and Care Directorate at Scottish Government, where they had a bronze, silver and gold command. In silver command, there's two kind of work streams, data and intelligence and apps. So we've been heavily involved in there looking at the common questions coming from IGBs and councils on data, to then link in to then look at how do we then access data, health data, GP data, testing data to make sure that our communities are safe. That work is ongoing, massive piece of work. And again, thank you to the data community in local authorities, the Driven by Data team that work with us, headed up by one of the ladies in Glasgow City Council. Fantastic piece of work, but really, really helpful, using the power and the capacity and capability of local authorities to make really, really good insight, as well as offering support and help to make that a reality going forward. Two big initiatives from Scottish Government: Connecting Scotland, working with SCVO. Big shout out to David McNeil and the SCVO team. Some great work about how do we get devices and connectivity to the shielded and most vulnerable in society to make sure they have a digital experience. And then, kind of version 2 or stream 2 of that has been working with the Education Directorate. Deputy First Minister announced last week that there'll be funding made available for 70,000 devices and connectivity for school children in Scotland, vulnerable school children. And we're working through this with COSLA and Scottish Government just now to have a proposition ready and waiting for the new term starting on the 11th of August. Massive amount of work on this, many people involved, and a thank you to all the councils that we've been chasing for data and reporting on that through Solace, COSLA and myself. So big thank you for this. But that's 70,000 devices for the most vulnerable children in Scotland connected up for the new term. So great piece of work, and thank you to Scottish Government for the funding for that as well. There's a theme about data returns, and that kind of almost like a cottage industry being formed about reporting. We worked with COSLA to look at the data returns and they needed for policy, working with Scottish Government and what they were looking for, and we stood up a very short working group to create a very simple solution using Microsoft Power Apps, Microsoft Forms, and Microsoft Power BI to then create dashboards. And thank you to Emily Lynch and Improvement Service, who've also been working with us and Solace to get the dashboards correct for this. Great piece of work. We're moving away from Excel spreadsheets to something far, far more richer in intelligence. And that work, again, say it's ongoing. It's not stopped. There's still lessons to be learned on this, and we're doing this in an agile fashion. So great big work for data forms returns. Just, again, sweating the assets that we have in councils using the data Microsoft Collaboration Suite. We're also looking at the continual support for home working. So there's a variety of different strategies and work streams going ahead. So I pulled together work with COSLA, Improvement Service, and SBDS to look at how do we create a toolkit for councils on modern workplace. So this will be a toolkit including help and tip guides, policy guides, HR policy, looking at mental health, which is a massive thing when you're stuck on a video 24/7, 365, it feels at sometimes. And there is things like obviously video fatigue now happening. I know I suffer from it at times, you wouldn't believe it. But we're working on that together. We've collaborated and there'll be some more work of that coming soon, hopefully by autumn. As I say, a toolkit that we're kind of pushing on with Improvement Service, COSLA and SBDS. So watch out for that as we go forward. It will link in very significantly into the Office 365 collaboration piece, but it's an amalgamation of also like digital skills as well. How do we train up the staff to make sure that they are digitally enabled and also confident in terms of using the tools that they're having to use now during the crisis? We've also been lucky to be awarded some funding. So we got £148,000 in from Scottish Government and for cybersecurity. So what we've done with that is for Digital Telecare, Cyber Accredited Partner Scheme. So we're working with Scotland Excel to work on an accreditation for cybersecurity on all providers for digital telecare as the transition happens. Great piece of work. Links into the Pathfinder work that's all available on the Digital Office website. So Digital Telecare Pathfinder. There's information on there, or playbook I should say, information on there that we've got on data, on ICT and security, on management, business case to move from analog to digital telecare, because as we know, in the next 2 years, analog telephone services will be switched off to digital. So a massive piece of work to make sure that what we produce and the solutions we provide with alarm receiving centres are as secure as possibly be, by working with the vendors to make sure they're actually accredited on a bronze, silver, gold or platinum standard as well. So a great piece of work, and thank you again for funding for that through Scottish Government. Digital planning, next we got £100,000, Improvement Service got £120,000, and we're doing a discovery right now to look at the systems and processes and data that's available in councils to look at how do we streamline the planning process. This will obviously link into economic regeneration as times and restrictions are moved. So great big bit of work. And just before lockdown, we were also working with Scottish Government on non-domestic rates. Again, very, very helpful as we move to kind of the new normal to look at how we do economic regeneration. We've had grants, rebates, etc. during COVID. So how do we make sure that we've got a good service from the councils with our communities of non-domestic rate players, etc. So massive piece of work there. Again, continually going on. There'll be production of that probably around about end of August, start of September. But that's just part of a massive project onto alpha, beta, and then live eventually as well. The digital planning obviously is there to support the new digital planning strategy, which will hopefully be out at some point this year too. And last but not least on this area is social work replacement system. So back at just around about Christmas, we had a tendering process for a framework agreement for social work replacement. We had to halt it. We've started again. That'll be back out roughly about August, September. But really learning from what we've had during COVID. And I think now more than ever, we're looking for a full cloud, cyber-secure mobile platform that can be used on tablets and smart devices, linking into digital telecare as well. So that will be reimagined. Working with Scotland Excel and our partners and our councils. So again, hopefully that will be out in the near future. I think August, September, as I say, but watch this space for news on that one going forward too. And then moving into renewal, the new normal. We're still scoping. There's been a lot of feedback and requests from help from councils looking at what does perfect governance or digital governance really look like. Now, we had picked up on this before on digital maturity assessments as something that councils were looking for. So we're about to start a small working group with councils to look at what is good digital governance within a council. There's been some amazing work, some great innovation out there, which I'm just delighted and happy to see during COVID-19 from all councils. So how do we capitalise on that? But how also do we support that that momentum that has been created during COVID to keep that sustainability on digital, underpinning all the business change and services that we need to make sure our communities are safe going forward as well after the pandemic. as I said, back to the kind of the modern workplace, how do we kind of look at the skills piece? We were working with SCVO before lockdown about giving digital essentials to every member of staff across Scotland using training with trainers, but also looking at what is also needed for like cyber essentials, data essentials, service design essentials, and maybe even sales essentials to help people sell concepts and ideas using data within their businesses for helping service change. So big bit of work being looked at that. It will link into digital health and care strategy and the skills required for IGBs and health and care professionals as well. So it's not small, it's going to be a big bit of work, but that's just started in the last couple of weeks to look at how do we support that, and more importantly, how do we do that remotely given blended learning for school kids maybe working from home as well, or learning from home, and how do our staff engage and get trained whilst at home. So a lot of things to look at, but something we're certainly looking at this moment in time. Support and collaboration, Office 365, modern workplace, cybersecurity posture increasing, data security being looked at as well. So just the current things you would normally expect just to underpin all digital transformation work across 32 local authorities. Also looking at some of the kind of service redesigns. So how do we fit the new normal? We may not necessarily want everybody coming back to the office. We may not want all the citizens coming into the office. So how do we prop up or enhance our multi-channel experiences? Learning from the best, learning from some great examples. I've seen chatbots in Aberdeen City Council before lockdown. They even understood Doric. I'm not even going to try and do it justice. I'll just be offending folk. But Aberdeen City Council, some great works on chatbots, other chatbots being used. And also Renfrewshire Council using robotics. So how do we use robotics in the new normal to reduce admin as much as possible and support our workers to really focus and have that time to enhance and look after the frontline people and the people that need the care the most? So robotics will be looked at. We started some work on a robotics framework before lockdown. That will be kind of stood back up during kind of autumn time. And we will be going out to market to look at 2, maybe 3 vendors for robotics in Scotland based on business case examples that we collect during our discovery phase, which will be spun up pretty soon, to be fair. And last but not least, building on what we've created with the cross-sector data task force. So as I say, we're working with Public Health, Police Scotland, Scottish Government, Third Sector, SCVO, academia, the ICO and Scottish Enterprise. So how do we really kind of enhance that going forward to have that community, that partnership to really help with community data, so we can support community and local decisions in councils, but with the support of kind of national and public organisations as well. So massive piece of work to be done there going forward. I think the last 3 months for everybody has been challenging. I know that from personal experience with the elderly family, shielding and stuff, it's been crazy. I just want to thank every one of you for supporting us, getting involved, letting us support you as well, and we will continue to support local authorities going forward, of course. So if there's anything we can do for you in Scotland and any of the councils, and you've seen this, please contact info@digitaloffice.scot. That's info@digitaloffice.scot, and we will get back in contact with you. But for now, I hope you're all safe and well. Hope you're enjoying some sort of sunshine, maybe not sunny today. And hopefully I'll all see you soon, preferably face to face for a coffee, because I'm doing my nut being stuck in the house on video 8, 9, 10 hours a day. So bye for now, and I'll see you soon.